Ethology. The scientific study of how animals behave, especially in their natural environments. Proximate causation. How behavior occurs or is modified. Ultimate causation. Why a behavior occurs in the context of natural selection. Behavioral ecology. The study of the evolutionary and ecological basis for a particular animal behavior. Fixed action pattern. A sequence of unlearned acts that is essentially unchangeable and, once initiated, usually carried out to completion, directly linked to simple stimuli. Sign stimulus. The external clue that triggers a fixed action pattern. Kinesis. A change in activity or turning right in response to a stimulus. Taxis. An oriented movement toward or away from some stimulus. Migration. A regular, long-distance change in location. Signal. A stimulus transmitted from one animal to another. Behavioral rhythms. Rhythms that trigger certain behaviors at certain times. Circadian plays a major role in daily activity, circannual and yearly activity, migration. Communication. The transmission and reception of signals between animals, an essential element of interactions between individuals, made up of visual, chemical, tactile, and auditory communication. Pheromones. Chemical substances used by animals to communicate, most often utilized by mammals and insects and usually used for reproduction. Innate behavior. Behavior consistently observed in a species that is developmentally fixed. Learning. Through learning, an organism changes its behavior based on experiences and its environment. Habituation. A loss of responsiveness to stimuli that convey little or no new information. Imprinting. The formation at a specific stage in life of a long-lasting behavioral response to a particular individual or object. Sensitive period. A limited developmental phase during which certain behaviors can be learned. Imprinting stimulus. Provided by the outside work, something to which a response will be directed, e.g. Konrad Lorenz in his grey-lag geese experiment. Spatial learning. The establishment of a memory that reflects the environment's spatial structure. Cognitive map. a representation in the nervous system of the spatial relationships between objects in and animals' surroundings. Associative learning. The process of relating one situation to another. Classical conditioning. Associative learning in which an arbitrary stimulus becomes related to a particular outcome. Dog salivating when bell is rung. Operant conditioning. Trial and error learning, in which an animal learns to associate a behavior with a reward or punishment. Cognition. The process of knowing represented by awareness, reasoning, recollection, and judgment. Problem solving. The cognitive activity of devising a method to proceed from one state to another in the face of real or apparent obstacles. Cross-fostering study. A study in which an offspring of one species is put under the care of another species, to test the extent to which the offspring's behavior changes in the new environment. Twin study. The behavior of identical twins growing up in the same household is compared to the behavior of identical twins growing up in separate households. Master regulatory gene. A gene that directs the expression and activity of many genes with narrower functions. Foraging. Food obtaining behavior. Optimal foraging model. Explains the proximate and ultimate causations of foraging behavior with cost-benefit analysis. Promiscuous mating. Mated individuals form no long-lasting relationships or strong pair bonds. Monogamous mating. Mated individuals remain together for a longer time, forming stronger pair bonds. Polygamous mating. An individual from one sex mates with several of the other. Polygyny. One male mating with many females, most common form of polygamous mating. Polyandry. Opposite of polygyny, one female mates with many males. Intrasexual selection. Members of one sex choose mates of the other based on the other's characteristics. Intrasexual selection. Members of the same sex compete for mates. Agonistic behavior. A contest that determines which competitor gains access to a certain resource, often food or a mate. Game theory. Evaluates alternative strategies in situations where the outcome depends on the strategies of all individuals involved. Altruism. Ways in which an animal behaves that decreases individual fitness but increases the fitness of the population. Inclusive fitness. The idea that a gene can proliferate itself throughout a population by causing an individual to behave altruistically in helping members of the same species that it is closely related to, who also have that gene, reproduce. Hamilton's rule. RB greater than C. Reciprocal altruism. An animal aiding a member of the same species who is not closely related. Social learning. Learning through observing the actions of others. Culture. A system of information transfer through social learning or teaching that influences the behavior of individuals in a population. Mate choice copying. A behavior in which individuals copy the mate choice of others. Sociobiology. The discipline through which human culture is related to evolutionary theory.